What's going on, guys? Static here, and welcome to what I'm calling Phase 1 of Black Aperture. Now, for those of you not 100% aware what Black Aperture is, basically it's my creative test world where I test, as you know, what mobs can and can't spawn on, as well as a bunch of other redstone circuitry and stuff like that. I also use the world to pay homage to two of my favourite game franchises, Half-Life and Portal, as you can probably guess from the name Black Aperture. Being a mixture of Black Mesa and Aperture Science, and as you'll see, the visual design that I've chosen for like the labs and stuff very heavily borrows from the two series. But as you'll see when we get up through here, the world is still very much under construction. As you can see, it's very bare. It's basically just a giant stone brick cube. The stone brick goes from all the way from the surface here all the way down to the bedrock, and the cube is 302 by 302 by, I don't know, however far it is down to bedrock. And as you can see, it's mostly empty at the moment, aside from a couple of odd projects. But I do have some really big plans for this world, and so I thought I'd start giving you guys a little bit of a tour around the world, because I feel like a lot of the developments you'll be quite interested in, and so I thought I'd get you guys started on a world tour. And now I know a lot of you are probably thinking, but you've got Haven going already. I do, but Haven is sort of designed to go alongside Black Aperture. Black Aperture is a solely creative world, unless I need to switch to survival for whatever reason. And some people aren't really a big fan of that style of gameplay. They'd prefer to see everyone grind and get their resources naturally. So for those people, they have Haven, and for people who just want to see some really awesome creations, Black Aperture is probably the go. And so I thought I'd start by showing you around a few of my creations here. These were basically the first things I ever made in the world. The first thing was this elevator over here, and this was basically just to test the original design that I was going with. This was Brows of Steel's elevator design, and so for those of you who haven't seen it, it works very simply, as you can see. Very nice, quick elevator. And basically I was trying to come up with ways of doing multiple floors for the elevator, and my original thought was to simply just use these glass doors. And so if you wanted to get to this first floor here, the doors would be open and you'd get spat out at this level here. But if you didn't want to go to this level, if you wanted to go to the next one, the doors here would close and then the elevator would take you to the next level. The one problem with this design is that I want to also be able to go down in the elevator, and yeah, this design doesn't really allow for that. So after creating this elevator, I recreated C&B Minecraft's, or the start of C&B Minecraft's elevator here in Black Aperture. So as you can see, it's very similar to Brows of Steel's design, aside from the circuitry at the back here, which is quite a bit different. And so I just basically built this one to get a basic idea of how the thing worked and if I would be able to use this design to make a multi-level up and down elevator. And so again, this design works very similar to Brows of Steel's design, although as you can see it's broken at the moment. Not 100% sure why, but I haven't looked at this thing for quite a while now. And my basic idea for going to the different levels was to use these diamond blocks here as what I call level breakers. And they were basically designed so that if I wanted to get to, say, this floor here, I would use this sticky piston to retract the diamond block, and that would stop the chain reaction of the circuitry at this level here. The elevator would stop there. Very early design. I didn't really do too much with this before moving on to the main elevator. I basically decided, what's the point of building it over here? If I get it working, you know, it's going to be wasted. I don't want to have to MC edit the elevator from over here to over there. So I just started building there, and that elevator there is a work in progress, which I'll show you that later on. But that's quite complex, and we might spend a little bit of time on that. So this is over here the level selector array, the RS knowledge array that I showed in one of my tutorials. So if you haven't seen that tutorial yet, feel free to click on the link on the screen at the moment to go view that. But basically, this is what I'm thinking I'll use to select the levels on the elevator once it's finished. And all this piston stuff back here and the torch towers, that was basically my way of seeing if I'd be able to use this to communicate from floor to floor. So for example, if I select on, say I'm on level 2 at the moment, if I select level 3 needs to know that it's been selected, and so I was just trying to find ways of carrying the current up, and was later going to figure out a way of sending the same current down so that levels below you also get selected. Now this over here was something that I've been working on for like mob experience traps. And basically what all this mess is here is a very compact timer, and the timer, it's basically a self-resetting RS NOR latch, but yeah, you get quite a bit of an extended signal out of this, and that extended signal is just long enough to bring mobs down to, I believe, half a heart of damage. It's either half a heart or 1 heart, but I'm pretty sure it's half. And so basically, if you create a mob trap of just about any sort and chuck in this little set of wiring, hook it up to the pistons, you'll straight away turn it into an experience trap. You'll be able to then one-hit the mobs. Now, this was basically, yeah, planning for that over there, so no big deal. Now, this cube over here I haven't been using in quite a while, but I believe this is where I was... Yeah, this is where I was testing an expansion of that thing over there. Basically, I wanted to hook this up. So yeah, hook this thing up to the timer over there, so that with the fence gate open, mobs would be able to fall in, and then the switch would trigger, the block would push over, suffocate the mobs, and then just before they died, it'd switch it back. The problem was that the timings weren't quite right. As you'll, anyone who watched one of, I think it was my second series of my LP, you'll see a design very similar to this when I'm messing around with zombie experience traps. One problem that I've just noticed though, which I'm certain it never used to do that, the fence gate, oh, that was interesting. That's kind of cool, actually. It's almost looks like a bud switch of sorts, and detects that. That's really cool. Yeah. Anyway, sorry guys, just getting a little bit sidetracked. This was where I was demonstrating my short-range wireless redstone, and as you can see by the different buttons and junk, I've been doing quite a bit of testing with this. I'd really like to try and find some way of getting the dispensers to shoot perfectly straight, even if it means altering the code of Minecraft a little bit. I know that'd technically be a mod, but I think that's a minor enough mod that I'd be quite happy to use it actually, and I think that would make a lot of circuitry in the soon-to-be Black Aperture very very cool. You'd be able to send signals across rooms and stuff with those little fire charges. One cool thing that came out of the tests though is this glitched fire charge over here. Basically what happened was I had a dispenser here hooked up to a clock, and it was repeatedly sending fire charges. I think I was trying to test the accuracy of the thing, and I accidentally logged out. I think either my game crashed or, I don't know, I logged out without, or closed the game without saving it, and when I came back in, this fire charge, which had been in mid-flight, was now stuck in mid-flight. And I've done just about everything I can think of to get rid of the thing. I've put blocks around it. We'll try water. I'm like 99% sure this won't work. And so basically, I don't know how, but I've managed to get myself a... Oh, that's cool. I can move it around. Oh, it just disappeared. Awesome. Cool. Now I kind of missed the thing, but yeah, I just thought that was something really cool that you guys might be interested in. Kind of sad that it's gone now, but I don't know, maybe I'll be able to recreate what I did and create one again, because that looks like it could be possibly useful for something. I don't know. This here is a project that I've been working on between stints of working on the elevator, because the elevator is a lot of work. I mean, as I said, this is the world that I play on the most, and most of the time I'm spending on that elevator, and it's still nowhere near finished. So yeah, between building on that, when I want a little bit of a break, I've been working on this, and this is what I've been calling a teleporter. What Black Aperture really would not be complete if it didn't have some sort of teleport capabilities, as well as the portals, of course. Now, I know DocM has been recently talking quite a bit about using mobs and stuff as like for teleportation, and the idea's been around for quite a while. So I'm not claiming to have invented this at all. I'm just, I don't know, I like my design for it. It's maybe not the most efficient design, but I think it looks pretty snazzy and looks very, very Black Aperture-ish. And so the basic idea for this one is that basically these pistons would be extended, and you'd also have these pistons extended. And so basically what this piston array down the bottom here, so not these ones here, but this one and the one below, this is selecting which direction you'd like to teleport in. So for example, if I wanted to teleport over this way, you'd select that on an RS null latch, and it would depower that piston and that piston, and so then you'd be able to enter from this side of the teleporter, and you'd get shot out in that direction. And same goes for all 4 other directions. Now, it can't just be that simple, as if we wanted to teleport, we'll say this way, set it back to the default direction, but we had the mobs falling into this hole here, we wouldn't go anywhere. We'd hit this the block here, the force field from the mobs, and we'd shoot across to over here. So what I've had to do is I've got 4 holes around the teleporter, and the mobs from these dispensers here, it's filled with villager eggs, simply because they don't make any noise and they're not hostile. So if I do happen to switch to survival, there's no chance of them blowing up my teleporter. So when they get dispensed, they fall down into this section here, and so you can charge up the machine without having selected what I'm calling a polarity. I believe that's what I was calling it. As you can see, guys, I I tend to go very roleplay-ish with Black Aperture. Like when creating stuff like this, I like to call things like quantum generator and polarity matrix and directionality calibrator, stuff like that, just so it feels a little bit more like Black Mesa or something like that. So you'll see elements like that throughout the world quite a bit. I'm not really taking it that seriously, guys, but I just think it's something kind of cool. And so yeah, as I said, the mobs fall down into that little hole there, and to select the different directions, so where you want the mobs to fall, it basically would activate these 2 pistons here, or 2 pistons here, and vice versa. And when you come down here, you see that opens up here, and the mobs can then fall down here and then fall straight down here. But because we have this direction selected, probably not a good idea to select this polarity. So we'll just chuck those torches back there, and I believe this is the one that I want. And I have experimented with doing things like putting placing a water stream in here to funnel the mobs down easier. And don't worry, guys, I know you probably saw the water spread out there, but it's sort of designed so that the water can spread out and fall into these holes and not damage any redstone. And my basic idea was that sometimes when you power the machine and the mobs get sent into this hole here, my thought was that because there's so many of them here and they'll be bouncing off each other, they'll inevitably bounce each other down to here and then down to here, because there's nowhere else to go. And once they get down to here, the chances of them jumping back up to where there's a whole heap of other villagers is very slim. So there's really nowhere to go for them but down. However, a few of them do tend to actually get stuck on this block here and then on this block here as well. And so I usually have to peek through this hole here and punch them and basically forcibly move them down into there. So I tried putting some water on the top to funnel them down, and it doesn't seem like that actually helps. Basically all that happened was they'd start swimming or they'd just drown. So it's strange, but for some reason those force fields around the mobs don't seem to funnel them down the path of least resistance, and it also seems to interfere with water currents, which is quite a pain. But yeah, so basically the way this works is I've got it's a toggleable clock, I believe. I was almost going to say T flip-flop, but it's a toggleable clock. So when you push this button here, it extends out, the block extends out, completes this redstone clock here, and then yeah, so fires all these pistons like 6 times or so, which ejects a whole heap of villagers out from the machine. And as you can see, like I said, they get stuck on that level and that level. And also, as you can see, I've reskinned the villagers. Another one of those little role-playing kind of elements. I've made them my little lab geeks. So everywhere I need help in the facility or someone to be observing, I use these guys. I would like to get a whole heap more characters like this made up for Black Aperture, just to give the facility some life. So maybe some Half-Life inspired security guards or whatever, but I haven't been able to figure out how to spawn anything in except for the farmers. Now I'd love to be able to put in, I don't know, like some like a blacksmith spawner or something like that, but I don't know if that's possible. But yeah, so you can see the first issue with this design. Even though most of them do eventually find their way down, how many? We've still got a couple in there and a couple down here. Even though most of them do eventually find their way down, it does take them quite a while. And once most of them have fallen down, there's really nothing to push these other 2 villagers down. And especially since the mob AI has been changed, they used to, on occasion, walk off the ledge by of their own free will, but now they don't seem to at all. So yeah, the first issue with the design is that it does take quite a while to warm up. I've been trying to figure out ways of fixing that. And so the basic idea is once you've got all of the villagers down here that you want, you use these pistons. I haven't come up with a name for these yet, but I will eventually. You use those to push the villagers into this closest corner here. As you see, it looks very weird. And the idea is you just walk into it and they shoot you off. Now, I'm not entirely sure why, but every now and then when I use this design, I actually get shot diagonally. The reason I've set up, a piston here and piston here is because I originally thought, when I first tested this in one of my other test worlds, I had an opening something like this, and it would consistently teleport me diagonally, even through like blocks and pistons and stuff. And it seemed to actually teleport me just as far as in the cardinal directions. And so I thought, yeah, this would be really cool. I can make a teleporter that will be able to teleport diagonally as well as in the cardinal directions. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. I can't really seem to control when it teleports me diagonally. But as you can see, the teleporter works quite well. Very low lag, especially considering I'm recording at the moment. Just need to figure out what the issue is with this diagonal teleportation. I think might have, yeah, see, I'm not 100% sure what it is, but most of the time this will work 100% effectively. And I've got these diamond blocks set up here just to show, so if you charge the thing once, so charge level 1, it teleports you out to here, charge level 2 out to here, and then the highest I've tested at the moment is charge level 4, which will teleport you all the way over here. I haven't tested any higher simply because of lag issues. It is quite laggy having that many villagers in one space. And so on that note, I might send them off to a fiery death. But yeah, so although it is quite a laggy and probably overkill way of traveling, I think it's definitely something I want to develop further and get working for Black Aperture because it just seems so damn cool. And I'll have like around the facilities, like I'll have the teleporter I'm thinking up very high, so maybe up on the top floor of the facility, and say at charge level 4, it'd be more or less in midair, and I'm thinking what I'd do would be to put like a glass pane or something, and so you'd get shot out and hit this glass pane and then fall down into like a destination room basically, and so you'd be able to use the teleporter to teleport all around the facility. So the thing you see next to it is what I was working on for my second design. I thought since the mobs take so long to funnel down into the desired corner, I thought I will set up like 4 columns of the dispensers. The downfall of this is one, that it becomes much more bulky. As you can see, I like the small, sleek design of this one here more than this one here. The other drawback is that because I didn't want to have 4 pistons, 4 dispensers on this side, 4 on this side, and make the thing even larger, there are only 3 dispensers per direction. So that means that I either need to add more levels or have the clock pulse more times or whatever to get to achieve the same amount of charge. But other than that, it seems to work very well. It obviously powers up a lot quicker than the one over there, but I don't think I'll be using this design simply because it just doesn't look as nice as the one over here. I think instead I'll try and figure out some way of forcing those villagers down into the down into the machine. Just want to quickly replace that iron block before I forget, and we'll kill this last guy because he will not despawn, and I don't want him running around the facility. He knows too much. He saw me incinerate all those other lab geeks. So I'll just take care of him. Okay. So yeah, that's my teleporters. I'm quite proud of those actually. Would really love to get those up and running and in the facility somewhere. And also don't want to have like a whole heap of giant wires coming from the walls in the teleporter room to these pistons. This is one of the things that I want to use my short-range wireless redstone for. Now this over here was a concept that I was messing around with for inside the ground level of the facility. Basically what I'm planning on doing is having all the sciencey stuff in the underground levels, kind of like you'd expect from Portal. The ground level is going to be kind of like a recreation area or like a lobby, that kind of thing. And then the upper levels will probably be things like a library, and I'm thinking of putting like a museum in there, having like a display for the old booster glitch, that kind of thing. But in the ground level of the facility, I don't want to have any like redstone wiring visible, but in some places I'm probably going to need to use very thin walls. So what I was thinking of is like if I want to transfer current from in the ceiling down to the ground without filling the room with big ugly wiring or having to make the walls wider, I came up with this design for sending a signal a long way. So as you see, the button up here powers that redstone line. The issue though is that, as you can see, the line pulses twice, and that has to do with powering this piston here and the clock and all that kind of junk. I haven't really messed around with this for quite a while, so I'm not 100% sure why that's double pulsing at the moment, but yeah, that's a little bit of an issue. I might try and figure that out, but other than that, I think that's quite a sleek little design, and could come in handy. It reminds me of something that I remember seeing Trinkatank making in his LP. Shame I haven't seen anything from that guy in a while. He's made a lot of really good videos. He was a really clever guy, but yeah, this is very similar to something I've seen on his channel. It's basically where I got the inspiration, but I believe my design is a little bit more user-friendly, just from just from memory, of course. Now we come to the basically the centerpiece of the world at the moment. For those of you who are wondering what the deal with the glass ceiling is, I wanted to. Basically, every time it rained in the world, it was a little bit of a pain. The rain sound. It's nice every now and then, but when I'm working on some complicated redstone, the last thing I need is that noise constantly in the back of my head, basically. And so I put this glass ceiling up over the world. Now this was, I believe, the original build height. Let's just check. Very close to it. And so yeah, I decided to put this up as high as I could build, and then that way it'd stop the rain from falling down, but it wouldn't get in the way of any of my builds. The problem though is that the build height, as you can see, has been extended, and I'm not 100% sure how high I want to build the elevator. Part of me, just for, to be honest, for shits and giggles, wants to build the elevator up all the way to the new build limit, but to be honest, I think the facility would look kind of silly this tall. So yeah, as you can see, the build limit's been extended by quite a bit, which means this glass ceiling is now very low and it's interfering with some of my builds. So once there's a stable build of MC Edit, I'll be moving this glass ceiling up to the new build height. And that's why I've broken out this area around the elevator, simply because even though I'm okay with MC Edit, I don't want to accidentally delete half of my elevator. So I've given myself a little bit of room to work with. The problem being is that now, since one of the recent updates, Black Aperture is in a snow biome. And so I get a whole heap of snow falling all the way down here into the bottom of the elevator shaft. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting a stable build of MC Edit so I can move that ceiling up. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to doing with MC Edit is, as you can see, I've got half slabs over the entire facility aside from where I've been building. And the point of this, for anyone who's not aware, is that for my spawn point series, I want to have a very efficient mob system down underground. And the best way of doing that, I could have lit up the surface and stopped mobs spawning that way, but by placing half slabs all along the surface, mobs are not able to spawn anywhere inside this smooth stone cube. So yeah, the one issue with this though is that if I want to build on the surface here, you'll see that there's a little bit of a gap underneath the blocks. I want to get rid of that gap, so what I'm planning on doing, probably with MC Edit, since it'll be a lot easier, is getting a whole heap of upside down half slabs. And for any of you not aware of that trick, if you press mouse button 3 while looking at a half slab, or an upside down half slab, sorry, you actually get given the upside down half slab and you can place them that way. Makes things a lot easier. But yeah, what I'm planning on doing is replacing all the half slabs on the surface with upside down half slabs, since spawn points tested or shown that mobs can't spawn on the upside down half slabs either, but as you can see, I can place blocks on them without that little bit of a gap. So that's another thing that I'll be doing once MC Edit gets a stable build going. And one other thing is, as I mentioned earlier, the cobblestone cube is 302 by 302. Not 100% sure why I picked 302, to be honest. I think I was looking for a number that was going to be the same on both sides, and that was just the first one that I randomly happened across. I don't know, that doesn't make any sense at all, but it's not too important. Basically, what I was looking for though, as a minimum, this the hole, 2x2 hole in the ground here is the dead center of this 302 by 302 surface, and this is also the middle of the. If I fly down here, this is the very middle of my spawn point spawning labs, and so basically what I was doing, if I just replace some of this stuff I just broke, a little bit of lag spike there. So what I was doing on the surface up here, oops, why am I not flying? I was trying to map out with these holes around how big I was going to want my my spawning lab. So I figured out how wide I wanted my pads, how many channels I wanted, how many pads I wanted, and then also added, I think, 4 blocks for the observation room. And so this comes to the corners of the room, as you can see. And so what I did was I made sure that I had, I want to leave that one open, I made sure that I had at least from this block here all the way out to the side there and all the way out to the side there, 144 blocks. So what that means is this is the outermost part of the spawning labs that I'll ever be in. And so mobs are only able to spawn within 144 blocks of you. So since this is as far as I ever go, mobs are not able to spawn outside of this cobblestone, stone brick area. So basically that's what I was trying to do to get 100% efficiency in the farm. So for those of you who keep commenting on my spawn point episodes where we test that mobs can't spawn on blocks, that I need to wait for longer, or maybe they're just spawning elsewhere. Now you can see that's not really possible. I mean, they can spawn if it's dark enough over here, over there, and down in the elevator shaft, but that's only because I've been working there recently. Yeah, there's only a couple of small pockets where mobs can spawn. Other than that, they all spawn in my spawning lab, so we get very quick spawn times. Now, another thing that I want to do once MC Edit gets a stable build is you can see these glowstone blocks here. These are marking out a slime chunk. I think that looks actually quite big for a single slime chunk, but it might be 2 or something, I don't know. But yeah, inside those glowstone blocks is a slime chunk, at least one. And so what I've done is I've again planned out where I want my pads. So I'll be having the spawning area inside the slime chunk, obviously, and then I've left 4 blocks as kind of like an observation area. So I'll be making a second spawning lab, very much like the one we use for spawn point at the moment, but on a different level and for slimes. And so basically that's where we're going to be testing all the blocks like glowstone, torches, that kind of thing. But that's under construction at the moment, as is most of Black Aperture. But you'll see the glass box around those glowstone blocks. The glass box is basically, again, this is the wall for as far as I'll possibly be going in this spawning lab. So I now need to extend the cobblestone, sorry, I keep saying cobblestone, the stone brick cube in 144 blocks diagonally in that direction, so that mobs are only able to spawn within this spawning area and not out in the desert or something like that. So again, that's another thing that I'll be doing the moment MC Edit gets a stable build. And so finally onto the elevator. Now this is my current project and one that I've been working on for quite a while, as you can see. And again, this borrows very heavily from CNB Minecraft's up and down elevator. However, there are a couple of edits or personal changes that are made. For example, as you can see, this all this circuitry on the side here, which I'm calling the reverse gear of the elevator, is slightly a different shape to his. I used my own kind of downward wire, very similar to his, just adapted for my uses. And I've also got this other circuit here that he doesn't have, these zigzagging torches. And basically what this is this sends a ripple of current through pistons on the side. It did send all the way up, but it's a bit of a graphical glitch. Actually, no, it didn't. It would have stopped. Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. Yeah, so that sends a ripple of current through the elevator, and I use that for various things. For example, selecting the floors. So, for example, if we want to call the elevator to this floor here, which is actually my spawn point floor, fancy that, you can see sort of the interior design I'm trying to go for. I'm not a very creative person, as many of you know. I'm not very good with the visual aspects of things, but I didn't want these hallways to be just iron blocks. I thought that'd look kind of plain. So I'm messing around with this sort of look at the moment. Let me know what you guys think. I quite like it, and I'm actually thinking of making it so that these redstone lamps here require power, and there'll be like a generator somewhere else in the facility, and if that for whatever reason goes down, all of these lights will go out. Just another one of those little role-playing elements that I was messing around with. But as I was saying, if you select, if you call the elevator to this floor, and you do that by selecting any level on this selector array here, basically the selector arrays, if I select level 5, the idea is that it'll select this level and level 5, and then that way the elevator knows where I am and where I'm going. At this stage though, as you can see, I haven't linked up the, so that's another one of the this destination selector arrays. I haven't linked up the arrays yet, so by selecting level 5 here, level 5 doesn't, even though I haven't built level 5, but level 5 does not know yet that it's been selected. So if I want to test things like going to different levels, at the moment I'd need to fly all the way up here and also select just any level on this floor. And as I said, that'll select this floor as well. So yeah, the basic idea is that when you select a floor, it sets this RS null latch here, which I'm actually quite proud of this little RS null latch design. I might go into detail later on why I'm proud of this design, but so it sets this RS null latch, which powers this piston, but as you can see, because this piston here is extended, this one can't extend at the moment. As you see, we've got snow now. That's why I want to raise that glass ceiling and fix it up again. And as you can see, it depowers this sticky piston, which pulls this level breaker back. So this is the same concept. The level breakers are the same concept as with the elevator that I was showing you before. And so as you see, because we're selecting this level here, like by the powered redstone line here, but the piston isn't able to extend, this level yet is not selected. And so to select it, I'll actually break out the door of the elevator here, which again, the door's not hooked up yet. The elevator's still got a lot of functions ready to be hooked up, but that are not yet finished. So you hit the call elevator button, and what that does is that powers that circuit that I was showing you before, runs a ripple of current through the system, and as you'll remember seeing, the ripple of current causes these pistons here to retract and then extend. But because when this one retracts, this piston is powered, it pushes that level breaker out, and that means that the current coming up through this golden power circuit here stops on that level there. And so that causes the elevator to stop at this level here, and so that's our elevator called. And now to go up, all we need to do, if I'll just fill in that, if I don't fill in those blocks there, I just get spat straight out of the elevator. We just walk into the elevator like so, and because we selected this floor before, it stops on this floor. And so then we just go out, and the elevator continues on its merry way. Now, stepping on these redstone, stone pressure plates resets the latch on the side here, so it unselects or deselects all of the floors, but yeah, so it stops from having like 3 different floors selected at the one time, but I do need to put in a master reset just on the off chance that somehow I end up having too many floors selected at once. And also, as I was mentioning, the elevator is designed to be an up and down elevator, probably a little bit more complex than you'd need. I mean, a set of stairs would be able to do the same job, but the whole idea of Black Aperture is to have a whole heap of cool inventions that really sort of spare no expense, so long as I think they're cool and useful. So, hence the bottomless pit in our spawning labs. A little bit of overkill, but I think it's cool. And so as you can see, the down, I'll get off that because it's quite loud. The down function of the elevator works as well. And it works very similar to the up function in that if I had selected this floor, which I haven't at the moment, the downward, the downward, what do you call that, chain reaction, I guess, would stop on this level here. The only issue is, or the only difference between going down and up, is that ripple there. So you see, there we go. So once the elevator gets down to the floor that it's going to, so say we selected this floor here, it'd stop for a second, and then that ripple would, would actually force us off the elevator. So unlike with going up, where you can sort of sit on the elevator for as long as you want, going down the elevator will push you off very quickly. That's not much of an issue though, because it'll just push you out into this area here. So you'll be basically at the floor where you want to be anyway. And yeah, so no big deal. Functions of the elevator that are not yet in but will be in soon, hopefully, is I need to connect up the RS null-latch arrays so that the different levels know when they've been selected. I'm also going to hook up the doors here so that unless you plan on going to this level here, the doors will be closed, and until you call the elevator to your floor. So if we haven't called the elevator here, the doors will be closed, but once the elevator gets to this level here, they'll open up. And I've also, as you can see, so here's the circuitry for the doors, just these little torches here, and I've also added in these note blocks. And so the basic idea is that when the doors open, it's going to play a chime, just because it's a little bit of overkill, and that's the way we like it here on Black Aperture. And so the chime, just to give you guys an idea, again, the chime isn't set up, it's another one of those little features. The chime is basically, if we set up this here, it's a repeater set on the 3rd delay setting to that one over there, and it's 7 clicks on the non-delayed one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I purposely chose the number 7. You guys know why. And so basically it sounds like this. So every time you get to a level, or you call the elevator to your level, that chime will sound a second or two after the doors open. So I think that should be quite cool. And yeah, that's essentially all I need to add into the elevator is the door, like support for the doors and communication between the RS null-latch arrays, as well as a little bit of logic behind here to tell the elevator when you're going up and when you're going down. Something like, if you select a floor that's lower than you, the elevator knows you're going down, that kind of thing. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the first episode of Black Aperture, guys. Updates might not be out as regularly as, say, for Haven, but hopefully I will have episodes up, once every 1 or 2 weeks, something like that. Fingers crossed, but don't hold me to it. Anyway, guys, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to show that like button some love, as it does really help me out quite a bit, and I will see you next time.